What's up guys, I'm Caden with Crypto Now or Never and welcome back to another Turbo update. If you enjoy this style of content, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. As always, none of this is financial advice. Let's get into it.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want.
Okay, so Turbo is actually in a very interesting spot right now. So you can see that it's currently trading at a $248 million market cap. And in my last Turbo video, I was pointing out how we had actually broken out of this falling wedge. And you can see a clear breakout from this trend line. However, after that, we ended up coming down. We actually had a bullish retest off of this trend line yet again. This is actually exactly what we wanted to see, and we bounced perfectly off of this trend line. However, right now we are starting to get a red candle again. But the reason for this red candle is if you look at Ethereum. You can see that Ethereum is also bleeding on the daily. I'll be honest with you guys, this is a very interesting position because Ethereum has finally gotten back above the 200-day moving average yet again. We had 2 candle closes above this level. Although I will say the continuation candle from yesterday was pretty weak. So right now Ethereum is about to retest the 200-day moving average yet again. Ideally, we would like to see a bullish retest and we'd like to bounce off of this level, similar to what we actually saw with Turbo in this trend line. If we can see something where it comes down and bounces off the 200-day, then that'll be a great look for ETH. But do keep in mind that right now we are dropping. And if you look at Bitcoin, it's a similar situation. Bitcoin had broken back above the macro trend line. However, right now it's breaking right back into the pattern. So if Bitcoin and Ethereum both break back into their patterns, then I would just expect more consolidation. That's the reality of the situation. I know a lot of people were hoping that this was the breakout, but it might not be. And today's the 4th of July, so it's a holiday and we're heading into a weekend, which is going to be low volume. It actually wouldn't be unsurprising during a low volume period if we did retrace a little bit. So I know some of you don't want to hear it, but I won't be shocked if we do break back into this pattern. But the ideal scenario is that we come down here and have a bullish retest. Now, what's interesting is if you look at the S&P though, the S&P has been doing phenomenal. If you guys watched my market update 2 weeks ago, I had the S&P drawn in this bull flag and I said we were retesting the 21-day with oversold stochastics. And you can see that we have broken out perfectly out of this flag and we actually have went above the measured move. Now, this is interesting because usually the crypto market follows the S&P. And I'm not saying crypto hasn't had a little bit of a pump, but if you look at Bitcoin and you look at Ethereum, it doesn't look anything like the S&P chart. The S&P has had a huge move, crypto hasn't. So we'll see if crypto is just lagging behind. So again, with Turbo, I think it's a very similar situation to Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think there's a good chance Turbo comes back down and retests the trend line yet again. We would like to see the trend line hold. Now, if we come over to CoinMarketCap, you can see that a lot of meme coins are bleeding over the last 24 hours. Doge is down 5%, SHIB's down 4%, Pepe's down 8%. If you scroll down here, you can see that Turbo is currently the 162nd largest crypto. It's down 1% in the last hour, 6.7% in the last 24 hours. So it's aligning pretty well with Pepe and a lot of the other blue chip projects. But if we click on Turbo, you can see that Turbo's volume is still solid, but it is down 50% in the last 24 hours. It's down to 31.1 million. And I would like to point out though that this still is pretty good compared to a lot of other projects in that same market cap range. But this just tells us right here that overall market volume is down right now. Even if we come up here and we look at Pepe, you can see that Pepe's volume is down significantly. You can see Pepe's volume is 758 million. You look at Shiba Inu, 111 million. Dogecoin is not even over $1 billion in volume. So looking at turbos, it's not that bad compared to the rest of the market. And you can see that a lot of the volume right now is coming from Binance, 11%, and HTX, 11.8%. So we actually have seen HTX competing with Binance again in volume. That's actually awesome to see. There's a lot of good volume distribution. I know I'm going to sound similar on this, but if we come over and we look at the TurboX account, there still hasn't been a whole lot that's changed. They're up to 112,000 followers, but there still hasn't been any major news. Honestly, though, I wouldn't expect any major news right now. They did post 6 hours ago, happy 4th of July, Turbo fam, freedom ignited the spark. The Turbo revolution turned it into a firestorm. And I like to see that they're still posting on here daily, but I wouldn't expect any major Turbo news until the market actually breaks out. Again, I know a lot of people were thinking that this might be the breakout because Bitcoin and Ethereum had gotten back above key levels, but it hasn't happened yet. In order for me to be confident that Ethereum is actually going to break out, I would like to see us get back above this previous local high. Ideally, even above this wick at $2,880. If Ethereum breaks 2,880, then I think there's a good chance that we are actually starting the breakout. And that's probably when you would start seeing some major turbo news and just other projects in general would start exploding. Because also, if you come over here and you look at CoinMarketCap in general, you can see that Bitcoin dominance is still very high, 64.6%. When altcoins started to break out, Bitcoin dominance had dropped down to about 61.6%, but it's risen again about 3% over the last month and a half. and Bitcoin dominance is back down to 9.2%. And I would like to just put that in perspective for you guys. So if you look at Bitcoin, you can see that Bitcoin's down about 3.6% from its all-time high 1 month ago. If we go back and we look at Ethereum, you can see that Ethereum is down 48.3% from its all-time high 4 years ago. So even though Ethereum has had a nice bounce over the last few months as it went from about 1,380 to about 2,800, it's still down significantly. So obviously, if we want to see an altcoin season, we want to see Ethereum break all-time highs or at least get back up into that 3,000 or 4,000 range. I know I keep talking about the 200-day, but usually you're just not bullish if you're not above this level. And I know we are currently above this level, but there's definitely a chance that this doesn't hold because we're heading into a low volume weekend. Although I would love to see it hold. But that's about it for the update today. If you guys are interested in Turbo and you guys are interested in getting into projects super early, then as always, I recommend taking a look at my Discord. We're in the markets every single day and we're making huge gains in here. If you look at the all-time gainer list, we've hit some massive multipliers. So if you guys are interested in joining the community, you can find the link right here on my YouTube homepage. It'd be awesome to see you guys in there. But that's about all. Let me know down in the comments how you guys are feeling about Turbo. If you found this content valuable, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.